Craziest red cards in football. If you're conversant about football, and I mean the round leather game, you can never trust players to behave themselves. No team loves to play with a man down. It offsets the balance of the team, and every other player in the team has to work twice as hard to fill that one spot. In this video, we'll be talking about some of the craziest red cards in football. But before we get into it, take a second to subscribe to our channel and then click on the notification bell icon in the top right corner of your screen so you never miss new updates from us. Now let's dive straight to the video. In football, there are rules, and strictly adhering to them is essential. Caution is a big part of the game. Some lines should never be crossed. Players can unnecessarily mean to each other sometimes. There could also be hard tackles, albeit unintentional, but they can ruin careers. We have seen a couple of those in the past years. In the thick of the game, a lot can happen. Opponents can be dodgy. The gameplay may be to frustrate the most informed player on the other side. Hence, the onus is on the players to always keep their heads and adhere to the game's rules. Sergio Ramos' tackle against Messi in the El Clasico. Despite his undeniable defensive abilities, Sergio Ramos is a different model figure in terms of behavior on the pitch. His partnership with Pepe for Real Madrid during his heydays would send shivers through the spine of many attackers in the world of football. He was never too shy to fly into a tackle. Some he got away with, some he was not so lucky with. One of the unlucky ones was during the 2017 El Clasico, where he clattered into Lionel Messi and bundled him to the ground. He protested his red card and aimed at Gerard Piqué, who at the time was critical of the refereeing in La Liga. But the 28 red cards Ramos has received in his career have not done so much for his on-pitch reputation. Douglas Costa's ugly spitting incident. We're used to players stomping on each other, squaring up, and pushing each other, creating mini squabbles all over the pitch. But we were not prepared for Juventus' Douglas Costa, spitting at an opponent in the thick of the game. He did not only get a red card, he was suspended for 4 Serie A games. Funny enough, Douglas Costa earlier got away with headbutting and elbowing Sassuolo's Federico Di Francesco in the game. You would have thought that this would caution him, but he was seen spitting at another Sassuolo player later in the game, probably to show his disgust or frustration. He was promptly sent off and Juventus reprimanded him. However, he would later apologize to everyone in a statement shortly after. Zlatan's flying kick against Saint Etienne's goalkeeper. Recently retired Zlatan Ibrahimovic was one of the most impressive forwards in football in his heyday. Tall, strong, and fast, the man shook off defenders like they were nothing. He also knew how to bang in the most outrageous goals. However, another side to his imposing figure was that he was also good at karate. This should not be surprising with how he was known to kick teammates and opponents alike. He was so terrific. However, while in the French capital, he stomped on the goalkeeper's chest as he was trying to trap an overhead pass. This left the goalkeeper in a big heap on the pitch, and everyone agreed the man had to be sent off. At least this one, Zlatan cared and was seen trying to hold back his tears as he walked back into the dressing room after receiving his marching orders. Neymar's red card for simulation against Strasbourg. After his time in Barcelona, Neymar moved to PSG in the French capital to create a legacy for himself. Although to this day, many still argue the move was unnecessary, that is a story for another day. His red card on this fateful day is due to his reputation as a diving specialist. At the 2018 World Cup, he achieved a wide reputation for always falling at the slightest touch. However, this was against Strasbourg, as the game was tied 1-1, and the tensions were relatively high. Neymar received 2 yellow cards within seconds in the second half of the game, and he was sent off, leaving his team with 1 man down. Alphonso Davies' red card against VfB Stuttgart. Remember when we earlier mentioned the need for caution against hard tackles, as some of these tackles could end players' careers? Well, although Bayern's fullback is your typical gentleman, the man goes about his ways without hassles but cannot escape this. However, unintentional it might have been. Alphonso Davies was red carded in the 2021 season after he clattered into VfB Stuttgart midfielder at the time, Wataru Endo. Although his team went on to win the game 4-0, Davies left the pitch on a 2-match ban. It is 2023, and we are sure Davies learned his lesson from this ugly event. Müllers red card against Ajax. Imagine coming to the field of play and you're leaving in literal stitches. We don't mean stitches in expression now, but having stitches in your head, bandages, and all of that. A total pause in the play for you to receive medical treatment. This was Nicolas Tagliafico's situation when he was hit in the head with a perfect karate kick from Müller. We cannot deny it because that flying kick from Müller was perfect and social media could not stop talking about them. Although Bayern Munich salvaged a 3-3 draw in the match, they had to struggle to the last minutes of the game when they were down one man after Thomas Müller was giving his marching orders. However, he gracefully received his card, the match ban, and apologized after the incident. Neymar, again? Neymar had his fair share of red cards while playing in the French capital. He is now playing in the Saudi League for those who need to be updated on just that. However, Neymar's red card even resulted in a 2-match ban for instigating a significant brawl that saw about 5 players given their marching orders. The French football authorities went a step further to open an investigation into the incident. However, Neymar's claim of being at the receiving end of a racist law is also being investigated. The incident happened in PSG's defeat against Olympique Marseille. Neymar was seen striking Marseille's Álvaro González. This resulted in a big brawl with Leandro Paredes and Layvin Kurzawa getting match bans. While Marcelo Mavi and Benedetto also received theirs, it did not also end on the pitch as Neymar claimed he was called monkey son of a bitch and accused Gonzalez of introducing racism into our lives, he said. Otavio with the most obvious red card in football history. As expected, sometimes giving a player a red card can be contested as fiercely as possible. We have even seen many instances when players get their match bans overturned when their club appeal to the cards because they feel like they have a reasonable ground to challenge the call. However, in the case of Otavio, the Wolfsburg defender doing a Bundesliga clash with Hoffenheim, they were already losing 2-1. And you would expect him not to make such a daring 2-footed lounge to deny the Hoffenheim's attacker a clear shot on goal. Paulo Otavio made the tackle, and everyone agreed he deserved the red card. He could not even argue a thing when he was booked. He calmly walked to the dressing room. Ronaldo's red card with Gupegi. Cristiano Ronaldo's talent is undeniable. The Portuguese talisman is arguably the second best player in the past 2 decades behind Messi. Although many feel that Cristiano is on the first position, that discussion is for another day. Despite Ronaldo's monstrous talent, he has been at the center of controversies. He is getting away with awful behaviors and rightly received red cards. One was in 2014 in a match between Real Madrid and Athletic Bilbao. Bilbao has always been hard to crack for the Bernabeu Giants, but as this match dragged on, Gupegi burst up with Ronaldo, and before anyone knew it, he was on the ground. Ibrahimovic slapping a marker in the MLS. Everyone in football knows Zlatan Ibrahimovic's confidence is second to none. The man is so sure of his abilities that he sees himself as the best thing that has ever happened to football. To be factual, there is nothing wrong with this mentality. Every player needs confidence to take on the enormous pressure on their shoulders. However, this cannot be tagged as spurts of anger or just a random moment. This was in 2018 when Zlatan was playing for LA Galaxy in the MLS. He slapped his opponent, Michael Petrasso of Montreal Impact, for stepping on him during the game. This might also have been overlooked instead by the video assistant referee, who called the attention of the center referee to it, and Zlatan was promptly red-carded and missed the next match as a result. So much for the Lion. So, that will be all in our list for some of the craziest red cards given in football. We know that there have been many crazy red card decisions, and we cannot cover it all in this video. Let us know in the comment section, we can do a second part. Meanwhile, subscribe and toggle on your notifications so you do not miss new videos coming from us.